you introduce yourself first, lah? As a yeah. No, like properly introduce what do you do, how you come to where you are now.
Since Aizyl doesn't know what to say right now. Okay, so I am a journalist. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I'm a lecturer. I've been doing it for about 15, 16 years now. And currently I'm at Astro AWANI. I'm senior editor for digital media. So I kind of like look after all the internet platforms, like all the social media channels, the website, stories going on the website, and how we communicate with people online. I also write a lot. I've written like 4 books, no, 3 books. The 4th one coming out next month. Go buy, and the first book I wrote was many years ago, 2005, I think. It was a book about the internet, because at that time I was covering the internet when I was a journalist. Sorry? Yeah, it was like about the internet. Surprisingly, it was like about that much, because it was a long time ago. Internet just started. Yeah, there was only like 10 websites around the world. Yeah, so that was it. Second book is still on the shelves. It's about the war in southern Thailand, Patani. It's called Operation Nasi Kerabu. It's a book, and when you buy the book, you get a free DVD of the documentary as well. The documentary got banned on TV. Yeah, it was banned one day before it was supposed to go on TV. Yeah, by the Prime Minister's office. Yeah. Oh yeah, I get in trouble a lot, Yeah. So it was banned, but they only banned it for TV. I was allowed to have public screenings. I don't know why. And I was allowed to publish a DVD as well. So that was that. My latest book came out end of last year. It's called The Adventures of a KLite in Afghanistan. It's a graphic novel. It's a comic book. It's about my time in Afghanistan shooting a documentary also about the war there. My latest book will be coming up in August. It's a guide to making independent films. Yeah, so that's me. Yeah. And then we do the podcast together. Actually, the podcast has been around. We feel like the Fat Bidin podcast has been around we feel like we just started it. But if we look back, we've already got 56 episodes. It's over a year. We've been doing it for over a year, and it feels like we just started it last week. Right? Yeah, so that's really cool for us.
Okay, so I'll introduce myself. Uh, okay, anyway, yeah, so my being the younger brother, 10 years younger some more, my introduction will not be as long as his. um, I actually graduated with a degree in film and animation. Graduated, got my degree, and decided I don't want to do that. So I became a writer. I started off as an intern in copywriting for advertising agency, and I went to wrote for a magazine, went to lifestyle and music and stuff. And then last year I started writing news lah. And then then like our interest started like yeah, we had more interests overlapping because previously it was just like movies and stuff.
We have another brother, right?
We have another
He
brother.
has totally different interests. Yeah. We're the smart ones.
I will tell him you said that, and there's proof. So anyway, yeah. So basically, both of us, our interests lie in the media, in general, like telling stories and getting information out there, lah. I think that's where mostly like why we do this thing together. You actually run fatbidin.com, right? Which is pretty much like a. You want to tell them? You want to tell them how that started?
Fatbidin.com is just a blog which I started like 12 years ago, maybe, just to highlight my work so I can get hired, right, as a freelance journalist at that time. But it's still a place where I just highlight my work. But I write about issues and talk about issues that's related to the industry that I'm in, like the media, journalism, film, and documentaries, right? So it has actually helped me to kind of brand myself in a way to the things that I'm interested in, and people have recognized me for those things because of their website actually, right? And that kind of
because of like how we kind of look similar a bit. People have confused me for for you and like have tagged me as Fat Bidin. um, okay, so what we're gonna talk about?
We're gonna talk about what was the title just now? It's okay, right? If it's very informal, right? Right. Yeah, because I'm wearing shorts, you know. Yeah. Shorts. I think so, right? The internet allows anything. So yeah. The title we're going to talk about ways of simple ways of sharing information. Right now, the one thing that see when I started out my career as a, I wanted to be a. Actually, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I graduated with a degree in accountancy. Right? Yeah, accounting. And but I knew I was never going to practice accountancy because I like storytelling, but I just never knew that telling stuff to people can be something that can make you money and make you a living, lah. Right? So I never knew that. So in my last year in UITM Shah Alam, uh, in my accounting degree, my last semester, I started looking for work. Right? So I went through the news. That time they didn't have websites with job listings. I actually had to get my hands dirty holding a newspaper, job listings. Yeah, I applied for stuff like accounts executive lah, auditor, but I also saw an advertisement that said, "Hey, you want to be a writer in a newspaper?" And I applied, and somehow I got that. So I said, "Okay, let's give it a try." So I started writing, and I've been writing since I was a kid. But I just never knew I could do that as work. When I got that job, I was like, "Whoa, so cool!" It was for the Sun newspaper, and I started writing and writing and writing, and then I thought, "Hey, there could be other ways of telling stories other than just writing." You know? Then I furthered my studies in broadcast journalism. Whoa, you can tell stories with video, right? Then I came back. Then I said, wow, what other ways can we tell stories? Film, TV, photography, and now audio. And I've made it a point in my life to try telling stories in all these different mediums. Some more successful than others, right? A few years ago, I tried to sell a radio documentary to a radio station, BFM. And I guess it sucked that they didn't want to buy it. you know. But because of that, I've been a regular guest on BFM, so it's okay. Hi, BFM, nice of you to always have me on as a guest. But yeah, and photography. I've also tried taking photographs. Not very successful, but I've sold some photo essays here and there to magazines and stuff like that. And now we're doing podcast. Yeah.
So Adrian invited us mainly because he saw us. He knows of our podcast and like so like he was saying like yeah, can you guys share a bit about like alternative ways of sharing, getting information out there? Because I understand that you guys will be heading to guys yeah to like yeah, and like there will be information that you guys would want to share and spread and like get the word out on a lot of very important things. And one of the reasons why I'm very interested in like actually sharing is because like and also because I think we're sharing on a question where it's our observations of the current uh, landscape of news and media and getting people interested in knowing things. Because like I think the most important thing that we want to push is that is to know what is your message and how you want to present it to people. For me, like what I observe in like news, like how what we read in papers or online portals or whatever right now is that there's a huge gap and a lack of specialized knowledge lah. And like knowing that you guys are really focused on like climate change and that I can only assume that you guys have like the specialized knowledge required to get people interested in actually knowing and having actual critical uh, discussion about how to uh, address this issue. Because like if you read news right now, it's always like, oh, this guy said this, but there's never uh, an explanation or development of like putting forward the context of why this is an important news to be put out. Um, so like say like climate change, like a lot of people like the problem with global warming, or whatever. Uh, and like yeah, I think a lot of people will say like yeah, it's very important, but if you ask them like what are the issues or like your country's policy or whatever. People don't know, and like um, I think it's important for people to know before they can actually jump on the bandwagon to help out. So yeah, um, yeah, that's what we should focus on. Specialized knowledge in what we want to share with people, like get people interested in knowing something.
Because if you see, when the media first started, right? When say radio started, TV started, everything was very mass, right? You watch a TV channel, say when I was alive and he wasn't born yet, I used to watch TV, right? Uh, there were only a few TV channels, right? What, three, four, maybe. And if you watch each channel, it's just general information about everything, you know. And then slowly as it developed, you started getting more specialized channels, right? You got sports channels, you've got children's channels, you've got news channels, whatever lah. It becomes more niche and niche and niche. And then now with the development of the internet as well, as you don't like the word new media, right? Aizyl hates it when I use the word new media because it's not new anymore. Shows my age. Yeah. But you see the development of the internet, it actually is pointing to the direction where information becomes more niche and more niche and more niche because you know people with specialized knowledge or specialized interest in specialized issues get to speak about just about that special information and they can find the audience for it because the internet is the entire world. So I think that's what makes it very appealing lah, this new media. All right. Because no matter what information that you want to discuss, whatever information you want to talk about, you can find an audience. You know, and it may be niche in the beginning, but as it catches on, right, there is also potential for it to become mass. Yeah.
If like we're talking about like really specialized like being shared, like I think one good example is like I don't know if you guys have heard of this YouTube channel called Minute Physics. It's basically like he tries to keep it in like a minute, or like discussing it's really short videos on discussing uh physics lah, different parts things in physics, um like say like people talk about like having 11 dimensions and how what does that actually mean, or like doing calculations of like it's very specific, but he's got like 3 million, almost 3 million subscribers. And like when you think about it, it's like uh yeah, it's very something very specific. Can those 3 million subscribers actually understand what he's talking about? But it makes it in a way where you can learn lah. So it's very interesting to learn something very specific. And I think that is where uh we should be heading lah, as a in media, where things are specialized. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. So yeah. Uh,
To the next point.
yeah. On to the next point lah. Yeah. The main big point is specialized input and knowledge. I think. Uh, because people appreciate, I think, when you put the effort to actually have the research on uh what the topic is about, like because context is very important. And as I was mentioning earlier, how like a lot of news they don't quite explain why that news is important. Of course, you have to like one of the basics of news reporting is the 5W1H, right? The who, what, when, where, why, and how. But then there's also the question of so what? Like this thing, like you're asking, you're putting out this article, but so what? Um, say say like this allegations against like 1MDB and the Prime Minister or whatever. What is the what is it what what are the implications? I mean, yeah, because I think a lot of people, it's a very complex issue that has not been broken down for. What people know is that, oh, this thing owes a lot of money, and oh, this money like being this money is ours, and like yeah, and how what is the involvement of the Prime Minister or whatever, what they're trying to say. There's no context being given for the general public who are not Yeah. So even though it's special, like sometimes like you get like business papers who give specialized information about it. There's also the gap of context on why people should know certain things. Um, so if like the example of minute physics is like for specialized content, something that I am unexpectedly supportive of for building context is do you guys go to the site chili sauce? I don't particularly enjoy the language that they use, but they really put in the legwork to actually find out why a particular issue is an issue and why it is important to you guys lah, or us lah, the general public.
I think they're doing a good job in that sense.
So it's recognizing the necessity for particular information and like recognizing these gaps in like what you want to speak, who you want to speak to, and what you want to speak for. Like how to say? So like yeah, actually, source recognize that there's a gap for context in news. Minute physics recognize that there's a need for really specific specialized content for physics to get people interested and put it in a way that it's easy for people to understand. Yeah, recognizing gaps and what is needed, your role in this landscape. So research is very important, which Zan doesn't do. When we're talking about like this podcasting that we're doing, right? Like he said, like he's damn chill about everything. It's like yeah, he makes fun.
I'm the staff actor of the podcast.
So yeah, so it is yeah, it is generally appreciated when there's actual because like one thing that I push for is critical thinking lah, which is lost in a lot of news or like media that we have is mostly rhetoric and like judgmental without like actual like meat lah in the information that they share. So I think like if you want to use our examples, it's like what we did with the podcast. I think sometimes when you got pretty serious, it's like when we share about like the hudud issue. Like a lot of people didn't know that hudud in Kelantan, when Kelantan was Kelantan decided to what's the word? Not implement. It's where they decided to
When you wanted to bring the parliament, right?
not they want to bring it to parliament. They recently had a what's the word for when they revise?
Critical thinking advocate, huh?
Okay, no, but okay. So basically, the recent hudud issue in Kelantan, they've actually had it was enacted like in the 90s already, but recently there was another debate about hudud in Kelantan, and people a lot of people wanted the impression that hudud was only being implemented was going to be enacted now, but actually it was the second round of amendments.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah.
So it was just being amended only, but like the context that was not built was that in regular news was that it was building momentum to try and actually implement what was already enacted. So what we went and did was we actually talked to a political analyst to lay down what was up, and we talked to a constitutional lawyer to explain the position of actually of Kelantan, the state government, of actually being able to implement or not the law.
Yep.
So yeah, that was
But you have to realize when information is being put out in the media, there are, I guess, differences in the kind of information that people want. There is one type of information where people just wants to know what's happening and what's being done, what's whatever event that just happened, whatever somebody just said. Sometimes some people they just want to know up to that level. And then there's another level where, like what Aizyl is talking about, lah. They want deeper knowledge about it. They want more critical analysis of it. They want more in-depth information for it. And then that's where you have to go deeper, right? So I guess that's the role of the media, lah. They need to know how to feed the needs of these people, lah, isn't it? So if, say for example, we want to create a certain content that we want to put out there, we need to also determine what kind of audience we want to reach, right? Do we want to reach that one type of audience or the deeper kind of audience? We need to determine it. Yeah.
Um, but anyway, that's like about recognizing the necessity for specialized knowledge and niche reporting. But let's talk about the more fun bit lah. Actual production. Okay, so
Oh, yeah, big question.
oh wow, okay, yes, please, please.
Engaging the audience. All right.
Okay, okay. Whoa.
Me?
I like that you asked about our podcast and what we're trying to do with it. No, okay. So basically, yeah, that's the thing. It's something we would want to bring up later. So it's about the flexibility of the internet and like producing your own things. Is that you get to try different things. This podcast is actually just us trying. We had free time. It was a byproduct of us having like uh, overlapping interests. And we meet up once a week to makan with our parents. And we'll sit down and talk about these kind of things. And we decided like, why don't we just record this and like put it online and see whether people are interested. And then like slowly we're trying to figure out like it's actually an exercise for ourselves. So like who we're planning to target and everything like that is actually it's done on a very small scale of actually recognizing what people are actually responding to. And that is something that is ongoing lah. Um, it's really like podcasting actually like you can either be like talking for like trying to spread information for people, or you can do what we're actually doing, which is wanking publicly lah. We're just talking about ourselves most of the time on the podcast. Yeah. No, but the thing is about working online is and I sitting in listening a bit on your discussions earlier was like you guys were tracking matches.
Eavesdropping?
I was eavesdropping.
Eavesdropping your discussion with Jim early?
No, was that you guys keep track of the metrics and like the important thing that you guys actually should be doing and like something that we pay attention to is why people respond to the kind of language like you experiment on like the kind of headlines you use or like the kind of the information you guys share on the actual body copy or whatever. Um, how people respond to that is actually how you choose to move or pivot, I guess, is one of the hot terms people use now. Your content to actually get more people interested. Yeah. And
But if you see, actually, if you notice, our podcast, the niche audience that we are, the audience that we are actually subconsciously or unconsciously or not really realizing that we are actually approaching is actually number one, other journalists and other media practitioners, right? And yeah, yeah, and sometimes we pick out certain media organizations that we find that they did something like ridiculous and then we highlight it. Yeah, of course. So that's one audience that we are, not realizing but we're targeting. And there's another group of people who are looking for this kind of content, things that they are talking about with their friends and their family members, and they when they hear us talk about it, it kind of helps to validate what they were thinking about. So these are people who are following current issues closely, things like that. Would you agree? Okay. It just happened. Basically, what we say is it just happened. From what we were doing.
It happened through experimenting lah. With what we're doing. We started out with really silly observations on particular portals coverage of something. Um, and then slowly we started thinking about like, do you want to focus more on the craft of journalism? Do you want to focus more on sharing opinions on people's opinions? And it's slowly becoming like we're finding a format lah that we're actually interested in making a fixed format. But generally, yeah, the demographic that we're actually focusing on would be more has turned into more like actual practitioners and also um, casuals. Coffee talk, what? Kopitiam talking. Um, on the question of you're gonna move on, right? To the question on what you guys should be focusing on. What do you think?
Well, there's one because it's so niche. When you talk about climate change and things like that, because it's so niche, right? If you go online, you might fall into the trap of actually getting the audience who are already on your side, who are already interested. So you're kind of like preaching to the choir, lah, isn't it? So there is that danger of that trap, right? Uh, but if you break it down into how you begin in the first place, when you first start, say for example, okay, let's just basic example, you guys want to start a podcast about climate change, about environment, about the environment and things like that, right? When you first start it, you need to look for an audience first, right? So that's where you go. You go for people who are already supportive of things like this, who are already interested in information like this. So you look for online groups that are discussing issues like this. You look for a Facebook page that is dedicated to it. You spread your podcast there and you share it with them and you start building an audience that has the same ideas and same beliefs as you, right? And then once you get a good grounding on this kind of audience, they will start spreading your message, right, or your platform or your podcast to other people that they know who are also of the same belief. It will slowly start spreading and spreading and spreading to people who it's kind of like an organic change. I mean, this is my opinion, and this is how I've observed things, right? You might disagree, right? And maybe some of you even might disagree because you probably observe other things. And then slowly, when these groups who are of the same beliefs of you start spreading your message, and they see that it is worthwhile, they will start approaching people outside. Because all of these groups, correct me if I'm wrong, still want to spread the message to people who don't understand it very well, who don't have that awareness, and you want to create that awareness. And then this will slowly, these groups will start pushing it outside, start pushing it outside. And in the same time, you guys also will start approaching people who are not aware and trying to create awareness, right? So it's a step-by-step process.
Yeah, like most importantly is recognizing the level, the sophistication, I guess, of the conversation. Like right now you guys are targeting Malaysia, right? Like if you guys were to spread the information, it'd be in Malaysia. Um, the level of the conversation in Malaysia for climate change, like generally, like what would people already know? What's actually in the textbooks, I guess. Like people who leave school, what do they already know? It's not much, I think. Not much. Like even if you ask me about climate change, I'm not too particularly
Oh yeah, it's getting
yeah.
warmer.
Yes. It's quite hot. But then also it's durian season lah, so it might be because you're eating a lot of durian lah.
Eating a lot of durian. I don't know.
Oh, but that's but, Yeah, no, see, that's the thing. Like you just mentioned, like a lot of people have the opinion that, oh, that doesn't affect me, but it does. Like, who's not?
How do you want to make them know?
Yeah,
Realize?
that is actually the strongest way of actually starting a conversation is pointing out how it does affect another person. So some things that have changed in Malaysia, or like really like okay, there's multiple two skills that you can approach a particular issue, either on a micro scale or the macro scale. You can find something like some neighborhood is affected by something uh, big. Like say it's something that seems small, like it's a neighborhood issue, but it is a bigger. It is an effect from bigger problems. So that's a good way to start, which is to directly point out like you are facing this problem because of this. So that's always a good way to start a conversation. Yeah.
Whether you want to listen, it's a different matter. Like like
No, you get them to listen by telling them, no, this is your problem. And you have to make your case. That's the thing.
you know that's where chili sauce is successful. In my opinion, chili sauce is successful because they manage to make it in a certain language that appeals to people who have no regards for political news or current affairs. But somehow the way they write it makes the average person who's not interested in it, wow, this is kind of cool and this is so true, you know. And that is also, I think, a reason why you guys heard of Vice News. They talk about climate change and the environment a lot, and they also are successful in making it sexy. In your words, sexy. Uh, Chili sauce number one is the way it talks, the way the language they use. The language that they use is kind of like the language we use every day when we are talking to people, right?
But wait, I just want to point out that I am.
You're not an advocate of
It's at the level that I don't particularly enjoy like the language.
Yeah, he's a bit elitist.
Yeah, it
It
does.
engages people. It engages people. You know, it's the same with Vice. You know, a lot of people don't agree with how Vice presents their news, right? Because they think it's distasteful, things like that. But yet, they are engaging people. You know, and Vice does it in such a way that they sensationalize something. They make it so drama. You know, that it engages people. You know, now that's probably a good way also to first engage these people with sensationalism, engage people with over dramatizing something. And then once they get hooked, they will slowly try to find more information about it, and they will move away to, you know, other platforms where they can get more in-depth information. That could be a way also. Okay, not?
I'm very particular with like even if you want to sensationalize something, it has to be backed up with actual things lah.
Yeah, lah.
That's the thing. It's always about it's
fabricating.
yeah no what I'm saying is that yeah, it's always a need to back what you're saying with like a critical discussion lah, with what is going on. Um, but anyway, want to move on to actual production
Okay.
about the actual craft of making something. Uh, just out of curiosity, like have you guys have any kind of um idea of what you guys how you guys want to share the information you guys are gonna gain, or the information you guys have? Okay. Twitter. Okay. Okay.
You get the people read, watch, come in, engage.
Oh, okay. Well, one technique is to always like be very vague and end it with "will blow your mind."
It's like 6 weeks left. The fifth one will blow your mind.
No, but no, but yeah, you have to see to believe it. No, but the thing is, okay, as much as we joke about it, about this clickbait headlines, I mean, like we see less of it now, but it working is it was actually a product of actually tracking this metrics and what people respond to. Like was um, you have a lot to say about clickbait, right?
What?
You have a lot to say about clickbait. So you're clickbait king, right?
Astro AWANI is clickbait case.
Okay.
Oh wait, I did not just say that. But
Okay, no, like but it's important to know that these techniques exist for you to merge and like try to figure out part of the experimenting of like recognizing what people respond to. So like clickbait is one thing, but then now you see people actually trying to create a clickbait kind of headlines, but with actual information to things that so that people don't feel cheated by clickbaits anymore lah. So it's like things that how like pointing out how this thing affects you. Um, it could be formed in a clickbaity headline. Just off the top of my head, would be like, why you need to know about five reasons how this thing affects you, and then you can lead them to like a really important discussion on like a particular topic.
yeah, then people won't feel cheated and
people
they,
don't feel
they
cheated
value
because
it.
yeah, people value it.
The thing about all this clickbait, the clickbait trend is that when it first started, it was all this you click and then you feel so cheated. It's like no, it has nothing to do with the headline or it did not blow my mind. You know, so people now they see through these kind of headlines, right? They see something that says that they just don't click anymore, right? I mean, I don't, you know, unless they use a very hot girl as an accompanying picture, lah. No, I'm just kidding. But no, you know, people see through it already. you still wait, they cheated me 5 times before. This time they won't, right? And then, but no, people see through it already. So like Aizyl said, you need to have actual uh, value-added information so that when they click and they realize it, then they whenever they see a headline from you guys, they will still want to click later on in the future, right? And you don't I think you don't write. Actually, last Friday I just gave a 1 hour workshop session for my Awani staff on how to write proper headlines to entice people. You know, and number one, the first rule was not to write a clickbaitish headline because people see through it already now, right? But you need to have a headline that actually tells people what they can expect, baits, baits their click. It cannot be vague, right? So you don't want number five will blow your mind and then you leave it at that, right? It cannot be vague. It has to be specific. But you need to know how the language that you use. It has to be strong, full of emotion, so that people do want to click on it because they really want to read it, right? Not because they want to find out how they're going to be shocked at the click, you know. So, but that is like if you want to really go into headline writing, it's like really really detailed, lah, you know. But just don't cheat people, lah, you know.
Actually, I think in the internet age, like one of the biggest things people value is authenticity. Because like a lot of um uh, blogs or video blogs where they're talking about news and they get a lot of views and they get sponsorship, right? I mean, like this is just one example about authenticity, is that they do not hide the fact that they are being sponsored and like, hey, you know what? These are people who are actually supporting me to do this thing. I'm not gonna pretend like this sponsored blog post I'm gonna try to make this sponsored blog post benefit you, but I'm not hiding the fact that this is a sponsored blog post and I've been making money from it. And people appreciate that because I think yeah, people don't want to feel cheated lah.
If I may, to bring it back again to how the example that you used about this article being shared 500 times, right? Shared 500 times. Viewed on Facebook 500 times. That means they viewed the status 500 times, but the actual clicks were 3. And 8 people actually read the article, right? You want to break it down to the different values of how people engage with you, on social media. Okay, so you take Facebook, for example, right? Shares is likes. Likes is the lowest in the ranking, right? If you say you get 10,000 likes, okay, great, you only got 10,000 likes. Doesn't mean they actually engage with the content, right? And then there's shares. Shares is maybe one step higher than likes because they actually felt the need to want to spread it out, right? And then comments. That's one higher, one rank higher because when they comment, that means they actually followed the content, they were engaged by the content and they wanted to say something about the content, right? So it may not be important that these people didn't click to the article, but if your status on your Facebook status, your Facebook status already engaged them enough to actually just through that alone want to comment in the comment section, that is already one form of engagement already. So if your article's headline says this, 6 ways to celebrate a climate-friendly Ramadan, when you put it on Facebook, I'm sure, did you put just this headline? Just that in the status. Okay, you can take it one step further. Instead of putting just the headline, Facebook allows you to write quite long, lengthy posts, right? Don't write too long like an article, but have something that is a little bit more descriptive and something that prompts them to want to say something. You could end it with a question, what do you think? Or do you have something to add? And then you describe something from the article there, right? So that, number one, if they find that point that you just posted on your Facebook status as something of value, number one, they might click on the article and read more. Or number two, if that alone is a standalone thing that can stand alone, they might want to engage with just that point and comment more. So that's also, it doesn't matter if they don't click onto the article. At least you've already engaged them on that one level. So make sure that when you spread your articles on your social media platforms, notice the advantages of the different social media platforms and play to that. So Facebook allows for engagement. People want to discuss. So when you put the status, like I said, put something that encourages discussion, right? If it's Twitter, Twitter is only 140 characters. People don't discuss stuff on Twitter, right? People just want to share stuff on Twitter. They want to retweet things, right? So make sure that the headline that you put is something that people want to retweet. But it also, again, has to also stand alone so that even if they don't click on the article, it is something informative. It's a challenge, but that could be the way lah. Yeah. It is a challenge, definitely a challenge. But if you enjoy that, you enjoy that challenge lah. Yeah. So yeah,
And I think for me, like, say if I want to get like technical, if you want to break down this headline, right? 6 ways to celebrate a climate-friendly Ramadan. I can roughly see that. Okay, you guys went with a listicle, and you guys went with how to say? Yeah, it's like a timely thing lah. Like now it's Ramadan, so okay. But the thing is, celebrate a climate-friendly Ramadan is like, do you guys try to figure out whether people are at the stage where like they are already taking steps to have a climate friendly Ramadan, like they are already taking like is it something you are concerned about when you celebrating Raya or Ramadan, something because like is the level of conversation at a point where people are already taking steps and they want to know more steps they can take, or is the conversation more on like, yeah, I have no idea how it's actually going to affect my Ramadan. Say if like you had a headline where it was like 6 ways climate change will make your ketupat this year more soggy or something, I would be more inclined to
You did chili sauce lah.
no, but what I'm saying is it's actually recognizing how it actually does affect you, and that is the level of conversation that people are actually having of climate change, where like they have no idea like how it actually affects me.
Yeah, it's like I see this. Wait, what's a climate-friendly Ramadan?
Yeah. Are you saying Ramadan is affecting the climate? Huh? Is that what the point you're trying to make? I am offended. Yeah, sorry.
But you don't mention climate.
It's I I'm not too sure. Like it might be, but
Too big.
that's not really too big for pushing the cause that you want to push. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
It might sound more like it's attacking ketupats rather than trying to say that you would want to be more mindful when you're making ketupats. Yeah,
It might work against you because you don't want to be too vague that they don't know the main intention of the article. Yeah, if just so happen they click and then they read it, this is what you mean. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like a gamble, lah. You know, it's kind of like a gamble. And there's also the technical term. There's a technical issue of SEOs and all that. Search engine optimization. You want a headline easily searchable. You want to have those main words there: climate change, Ramadan, ketupat, whatever you aim for. You know, so yeah.
So yeah, that's like it's very like these are the things that you keep in mind lah. Like when you want to scrutinize a headline or like getting the word out there is the level of the conversation, and also like these are techniques of existing techniques of getting people to click. But then like the level of conversation, like climate friendly, celebrate a climate friendly Ramadan, assumes that people are already trying to take steps and they want to know more about that instead of knowing how like knowing that climate change has affected certain things. And there's a conversation. Yeah. So.
You guys, we're okay, man. You enjoy being on the stage.
Yeah. Please, all your attention on us. No, I don't. That is very technical things like Zan was mentioning earlier about like paying attention to like search engine optimization and we don't particularly specialize in that, but like we specialize more in creating the content itself and letting the content speak for itself. But like when I was talking about authenticity, I meant like about the personality, about what the organization is trying to do. You are authentic in what you are speaking about, or like I'm not trying to fool you into clicking this ad so that I make more money, that kind of thing. Or if we're trying to fool you with into clicking this ad to making us more money, we're telling you, hey man, this is a trick. I mean, like, just be authentic about what your actions are, lah. But like, if you want to talk about um, the technique, like really technical, I don't know, coding and getting your things out is it's a bit out of our depth, lah. But
It takes time, right? Do you know the number of listeners to our podcast for the first episode? Our first episode, I think 40 or 50, right? Now it's averaging, yeah, not a lot, so lah. But there was this one time, we had like what 6,000 listens because I wrote an article that got 10,000 views in one day. So people started clicking onto the podcast as well. What was it?
you reviewed a movie called Setan.
Is it? That was what?
That was the one that went like
6,000. Yeah, but that I wrote on Thursday, like 10,000 hits on that. Something to do about me making fun of the Malays. I always do that. And but I can do it because apparently I'm Malay. Yeah. So yeah, it was. Yeah, you don't know if something you do is going to get a lot of views or not. You know, you just have to make sure that you're consistent. Nice, you come with the main concern anyway. You know, like how many people read your article or how many. measure the success. Because you also want to look at the kind of engagement that you've caused, the discussion. Maybe only 2 people commented on the article, but if those 2 people raise really good issues and raise really good points, that's sparked off more valuable than 10,000 reads of your article, right?
Because, like if you want to talk about like getting as many people to read it as possible, I think the master clickbaiters like BuzzFeed, right? They have I mean like not separate, but the way they work is that they have all these cat memes and like listicles and everything, but they actually have like a proper team of journalists like getting real issues out and like breaking real stories. But the thing is, they use these listicles and cats and explosions to get people to their site in hopes of them actually getting to the real issues they want to talk about. And they're actually facing some problems because they were very metrics driven, like what we get people clicking, what we get people clicking, to the point where like, oh, are they clicking to the right places within our site? And it's a balance like that you have to keep thinking about. And so making people make it even though it's important to get a lot of people reading, that shouldn't be like the ultimate uh, measure of your success of the content that you're sharing, which I think we should actually move on to like the actual bits that are useful for the practice of like you guys want to get your information out, right? So like what we do. Okay.
Just one very quickly. This one, you also want to know your platform of how you want to spread how you want to be known. Like for example, BuzzFeed, they are fine, but being a news organization that solely relies on Facebook and social media to spread their articles. So people don't even know how their main website looks like. It's true. I don't know how their main website looks like. They have one, BuzzFeed.com, you go, they have a main site, but that's not their concern. All they care about is if individual articles are spread on Facebook, people share it, and that's how they get the traffic. But there are other news organizations, content organizations that want their main website to be the focus. Like for example, New York Times, the Guardian, Vice, right? They want their main website to be the traffic driver. People come there for all the information that they want, right? And then they use social media just to spread it around, right? So you got to determine that also, whether you want to be either the BuzzFeed way or New York Times way. Yeah. Okay, please.
Okay. No, I mean like, this has been very like it's a lot of information, but like the actual practice techniques and like the practices lah for when you guys want to share information is that first of all, you guys are talking about platforms, right? You guys already use social media, Facebook, Twitter, and like you guys blog about it. But the thing is, the other forms of like maybe making videos or like radio shows are not as complicated or as inaccessible as before the internet age, I guess, this current time. New media. So yeah, so like like right now, like okay, Adrian was asking us just now about like an audio mixer. Would it be a good buy since we do podcasts and stuff? And, like all these clicky things, and like we
fun of you, Adrian. You're cool. Yeah.
no, that's the thing. Like that's like specialized knowledge that we have no idea about, because like all we do for like recording our podcast is just like hello, this is Aizyl, this is
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Hey, talk louder, Aizyl.
so that's all we do. We just use our phones and like put up online. So that's the entry level for producing your own content is actually so easy to break through lah. Yeah, so yeah, it's so easy, and that it gives so much flexibility in trying new things. Like we were saying, our podcast is actually just trying a lot of different things. So you guys have actually a lot of options, like vlogging. Okay, right now I'm actually starting. I started this vlog of like where I'm reviewing knockoff toys, cheap toys that of like, and it has like explosions and really stupid stuff. But it's completely shot with like my phone, and edited. Okay, it's more complicated editing process lah, but it's not inaccessible. Things are easy to produce lah. So like don't limit yourselves to starting a blogspot account or what other what other forms of blogging. Yeah, there's blogspot. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Don't just resort to like sharing my experience in this. Because it is easy to do research and like provide legitimate uh studies. So don't limit yourself to just like simple blogging of like, oh, I went for this thing and like, it seems that a lot of people are not interested in climate change. I really hope people change their ways. Instead, what you can do is it is you can still make it personal. Where like if you choose to blog, where you go like, I attended this thing, this fact are apparent, and like I can't believe people are not reacting to this. So like it's informative. You can keep it personal to what you are personally blogging about. But then there's also like say like blogging. Podcasting. Uh, Say what we do. Say whenever we interview people, or like say like because we are journalists ourselves, we meet people that we can actually approach with questions about things we want to highlight. Like just now I was talking about the hudud thing. My interviews were phone interviews, but we recorded. I told them like, okay, we're recording for this podcast. Can you break down like this thing? So we use that audio and along with audio that we record ourselves, and then we just cut it, and it's informative. We get to put in our say of the whole issue, and it is not difficult. That's the thing. So it's not difficult to provide good information to people in very simple ways. Yeah, yeah.
We had one episode of our podcast where we recorded it when I was throwing out furniture at a dumpster.
Yeah, that's pretty recent.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty recent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's not so much about there's no need for like crazy amount of slick professional
production.
yeah, because
I mean, it may be a point where you want to strive for that,
yeah,
but that should not be the beginning point. That
yeah,
should not be the beginning.
the entry level is
Yeah.
so easy to penetrate. It's like just
Yeah,
For example, you said for yourself, you guys have done it like very just simple, like when you're throwing out rubbish and things like that. But does it show though that there's no difference? Like for example, I'm sure the quality of when you're throwing things,
yeah, of course.
was a bit off. But is there a difference? Like, are there less people who come when the quality is lower, or is it
Really?
unrelated at all? Like, just
um
a matter of getting content out.
I actually listed down an example of podcasts because we listen to a lot of podcasts, and people who focus more on the craft and people who focus more on who don't focus so much on the craft of like how we want to edit these sounds, and we've got two that I like to refer the reference is Radio Lab, which is one of my favorite, where they really focus on like
Highly slick professional.
really professional production, where like they get like how to say on location audio, and then they
Sound design.
yeah,
Oh.
so that like you're really engaged when you're listening. Like, oh man, I'm there, and like it really moves you from how they choose to produce it. It's really slick. But then there's also stuff you should know. You listen to stuff you should know.
No.
It's just two guys just
but
it's two guys just sit around talking about novel information, really novel information lah, like things you wouldn't have maybe know, not like things you thought of, but like of going home and Wikipediaing it, but you never get to doing it, like how do insect repellent work. Okay, but the thing is they do like really in-depth research, but all they're doing is just like unedited, two people talking in a room, blah 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 blah, put it out. The thing is both these podcasts are actually top among the top ranking most downloaded podcasts. despite one being like really high production, one almost no production at all. I don't have a personality.
Yeah, he doesn't have any personality.
I'm,
I say I'm the star factor.
so, um,
I think it's both. Lah.
Let's say we put what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and put give it to two other guys, right?
Yeah.
To talk about on a podcast. Completely different people. Will it be the same? Obviously not. So do you think people come to you guys because it's you guys, or because they really want to know?
I think it's a combination of
it's
both.
a combination of both, and hopefully I will get to the point where I'm talking about how to actually generate this consistency and getting people to visit you, or like how like I'm gonna use Zan's Fat Bidin blog as an example of actually creating awareness of this brand, or like getting people to know what they're actually coming to read about or listen about or watch about. He does a lot of things like he does videos and podcasts lah. Okay, and yeah, we just like you. So like so some of the things like you guys already have an existing blog, right? Some of the things that Zan does to maintain attention is to be consistently pushing out content. Or original content maybe few and far in between, possibly once a week. But throughout the week, is updating with like articles that he's read and giving his input on that article. And then like so when he shares it on say social media that you guys use to supplement your promoting your blog, they constantly have something to be reacting to that you provide, and it's within the language or like the information that you guys are trying to spread, like some new article about climate change, and then the blog post is your opinion, a short like 2 paragraph opinion piece on like opinion on the article or why it's important for you to read it, and then you give the link to the article. It might give a click out of your blog, but at least people are still clicking into your blog to read things that are being updated. So like Zan has a lot of columns, right? You write a lot of columns for. He's a columnist for a few news organizations. So he's got when he writes for other things, right? But it's still within the interest of Fat Bidin. He will post it in Fat Bidin with a snippet and lead them to the actual column. So there's a constant in and outflow of the blog. So you stay relevant in providing good content outside, and also that you provide good content inside. You know, so like there's consistency of like reason why people want to visit you. These are just the most simple ways, lah. Bigger organizations like news portals and everything, they kind of do this kind of a technique also where they rely on wires. I mean, like that's like older way of how this works lah. But like newer media, in the new media, like this is a way of like it's basically the same concept but done on a small scale, and like it helps you constantly have content that people are interested in and know you for. So like Zan produces a lot of stuff that is about the media. So they know, okay, I go further within, I'm gonna read about the media. So if you want to do about climate change, that kind of thing. It's actually this is like one simple technique that people can you guys can use to constantly have content and constantly be consistent. To be consistent, constantly be consistent. Be consistent. Yeah. I feel like that is actually a very important part of promoting yourself, promoting your movement, or promoting your content.
That being said, I think current media, see, I don't use new media anymore. Current media, the trend is actually people hook on to out personalities. Okay, if you go to YouTube, main popular vloggers or YouTubers are personalities themselves. For example, like I don't know if you've heard of Casey Neistat. You know, he's a YouTuber and he does this daily vlog thing, and it's all about him himself. You know, but somehow you get addicted and you want to watch. You know, because he actually talks about life in New York City. He talks about issues going around in the city. He talks about bicycle lanes. He talks about a lot of things. But he, of course, he gives it from his perspective. So it's really personality driven. But the current trend in the media now is people get hooked onto these personalities, and these personalities make use of their personalities to give out valuable information. You know, and those are the ones that become popular and become a success because yes, they know that their personality is what's driving people to come to watch, but they use it to give out real information. You know, so that's important to know, lah. Don't you think so? Yeah. Who aside from Casey and I said who else? That well, we have locally we have people like Genie Boy. Do they give out important information? I don't know. But no, they do actually. You know, they discuss issues and things like that. Amos Yee. Yeah, yeah. He used to. True, true. And when he talked about himself, people kind of relate it to Singaporean youth, don't they? Yeah, yeah, but he has been said to be a bit, but we, yeah,
But that's the thing. Okay, but then I don't want to get into this whole MSC thing because like I have a lot of like opinions about the issue lah. But yeah, it's good.
no, there are actually popular Malaysian YouTubers who use their personalities and they become crowd drawers as well. But I just don't remember their names. There's this Malay kid, young guy. I forgot his name, but he recently published a book where he gives out motivational information. You know, and he talks about how he went through life, how he went to school, how he studied, how he had a rough time overseas, come back, he had to learn English. So he uses his own personal experiences, but yet it resonates with a lot of younger people. And because of his personality, they're drawn to it and they can relate it to their lives. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So um, producing content, like I said, is not difficult. There's a lot of online resources for how to produce things. Like if you want to shoot something with your phone, just Google. And I'm saying like this is really how simple it is. Like how simple like right now I'm trying to figure out how to do a lightning effect in a video. All I'm typing is like how do I do a lightning effect in on video and and it's very accurate. Like oh lightning effect specifically you want to do a video of a lightning effect here this is it and you get it and it's like I can't remember the other day was like something.
used to pay semester fees like for 6 semesters to learn this.
Yeah, so it's like the other day I was looking up for something really specific like how do I make the light from an explosion in a video like become very clear or like color change for the explosion so that people don't feel it's fake.
All the list of
And then it's like
tutorials.
this is what you do. Then I was like okay yeah sure so it's so we're not going to get into like how to produce it specifically but yeah because you can get it on your own just Google it. But what is important is knowing that these things are out there that podcasting is an option, videos are an option. Do not limit yourself to just like a simple blog of my experience going to this thing and I'm sad because you can back it up with a lot of information that are really readily available references. I'm not just specifically talking about like the medium that you choose to spread it, but the references that you can have, like actual studies that exist. I believe there's a study out there about like the 5 kinds of Malay consumers that list down like and this is real. Like there's that list down like what kind of a Malay are you and how people target you demographically for like when you want to sell you things. Yeah, so like it actually exists and like people who do professional work skip these things. Okay, so it really frustrates me when I read like local news and stuff like that. So like what I'm saying is that it's simple enough for somebody who want to have specialized knowledge to wrap this up with specialized with proper referencing and like proper other proper knowledge that's out there that you can put together through a Google search. So yeah, making sure that the content is solid is important lah. That you have something to back what you are saying and make people know that this is why it's important to you. So yeah, we'll talk about branding. Uh, okay, so like technical bits about getting your content out there. Your branding can either you can choose for it to be a personal branding, like Zan likes to go out and say, "Oh, I'm Zan Azlee. I am Fat Bidin," kind of thing. Or you can, or like you could have gone with another approach where it was like, "This is Fat Bidin," and then there's a layer to the personality of Fat Bidin. You know, uh, like you guys know Foo Fighters. It started off as Dave Grohl wanting to just put out an anonymous LP out there of things he just recorded himself and like have a layer away from it, and it's like it's not a Dave Grohl thing, it's a Foo Fighters thing, and then it ended up becoming a band lah. So uh, going that's a different direction that you can take aside from like, oh, this is myself, but also I have another layer. This is a brand which speaks about these things, and I am a contributor to this brand and this brand's conversation. So if you guys are planning to start something of your own, something that you guys can consider lah, like what level, what layer you guys want to communicate. Um, so yeah, like I was gonna, you guys familiar with like Tavi Gevinson? Okay, she is as a teenager, she started this thing called the Style Rookie. She was her own personal blog. She called herself she called herself the Style Rookie. So she was just personally blogging about like fashion. Okay, and that was like one layer, like specifically, I am the Style Rookie, and she was like talking about the thing. And then later on, it got really successful, and then she realized she wanted to separate herself. Like I want to have a one layer distance from this thing. I will start something called just Rookie. And like I'm not speaking on her behalf lah. I mean like this is my based on my observation of how it turned out lah. So like she started it became a brand itself, Rookie. So and that gave the flexibility of having other people contribute, having other people give their opinion on the matter, and like it's part of helping it grow lah. Um, yeah.
We look at how we are branding ourselves. We
Yeah.
sort of are following the it like
Already having have
where they used to have basically this is the branding and we have a lot of us and then we basically post. Could be myself, could be Adrian, could be Mike, could be how does this sort of branding relate to
no, see that's the thing, like so say when the information you gain, or like the information that you guys want to share from the COP21, right? Will you guys be sharing it personally, or will it be like be part of like Power Shift brand?
everybody's sharing out everywhere? Not really under scholarship, but more under
MYD. Okay, see, like this kind of thing, you guys like you're talking about like a brand structure. You guys can actually discuss like you guys can actually discuss how what kind of a structure you guys want to have, like a tree of like what is the other brand, or like which brand disseminates what information, and how does it all tie together, so that you guys have like a consolidated like kind of a thing. Yeah. So like somehow it all has to tie in together for an ultimate brand of like or an ultimate movement. So you guys have to figure out like how does it all tie in together. I think that would be at least like you guys say like one part of the brand has more um, followers for a particular thing. One part of the brand has more followers for a particular thing. Having a bigger brand that covers it all um, can bring all those followers together. Yeah. So like even it's not a bad idea to split everything to be like, okay, for this thing we're doing this small thing. For this particular thing was, another brand to talk about this, but always have the idea of somehow bring it all together in the end, like, so that it doesn't feel like separate pieces of movements. Yeah, and how you guys wanna able to have like separate voices, but also be able to unify the voice if you need to.
Vice would be a good example of this.
Yes.
You know, because Vice Group has many different types of content, and then they group it according to the type of content in separate websites, right? You have Vice.com, which is the big, broad one. You have Vice News, where they concentrate on news. You have the Creators Project, where they concentrate on music, tech. Yeah, and then you have the music is called what? They have a noisy, right, which is all about music, and then they have several others, you know. Yeah, documentary series and all that. So they have many, and they break it out according to the type of content. Uh, but then you also will find everything on Vice.com, which is the umbrella thing, and all these different groups are identified as under the Vice group, and it's actually very distinct also, the identification, the branding, isn't it? There is another network like that called MaximumFun.org. Yeah, it's a network of podcasts, you know, and different people who want to start podcasts come under this network, and then this big network helps them to get funding, get their word out there, find an audience, you know. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know how that works as unifying everything though, because they are very separate actually. Yeah.
They can choose to have a unified voice for something if
Yes.
they want to.
Yeah, that's why they have a lot of like events when they all come under one banner.
Yeah.
NPR just started Radiotopia again for podcasts, you know, and unifying it under one big group.
I think
Yeah.
a good local example would be Pop Digital. Pop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You guys familiar with Pop Digital? The group, they have poptv.com, they did poptv.net.
Pop.tv? I don't know.
No, Pop TV. Pop
Okay, no,
TV,
yeah, they've been
and they
producing a
have
lot of
Postcode, they have marksheet.com. Marksheet.com is a website on parenting. Code, yeah, fashion, tongue chic on fashion. They have Nom for food.
So
Yeah.
they got,
Yeah.
and they produce
Yeah.
like video series like the effing show. Um,
Fairly current show.
Yeah, the
Sex
sex
education
education
with
one.
June Low.
Yeah, so the thing is, it's
Yeah.
like it's a lot of small separate things, but they could choose to unify under one should they want to.
Yeah.
Like one of say one small part wants to do a festival or whatever. Yeah,
Everybody. No, it's good because they have the Kuala Lumpur Festival, if you are familiar with it, right? And all of their platforms come and do it together. So Kuala Lumpur is about ideas and discussions, critical thinking, and all that. They even have their marksheet.com website come and do stuff for kids, and they promote, they encourage this, you know, they encourage engagement with children as well. So yeah.
So no, yeah. So the thing is, these are like big companies really lah. But I think the main point that I want to try to make is that because like you guys are a small team or it actually gives you guys the advantage of actually crafting this while experimenting and putting all this together. Because like bigger companies, whenever they like acquire a small section that they want to integrate into their parent company, it goes through like a really big. It's really messy lah. It's really messy. So like because like you guys are at a stage where you can pivot and move and
Do whatever you want.
you can do whatever you want. Yeah. So like, but the thing is like keep it in mind lah that you could have multiple different uh, entities, small bits talking about different things, but there's the opportunity to consolidate the voice and be one bigger organization to keep the branding smooth from top down lah. Yeah, flexible lah. Yeah.
But it's always good to experiment.
Yeah, to be able to experiment is very good, but like because you guys know what specifically you guys want to do, like specifically what you want to get out, you guys know, like just identify which parts you guys want to experiment with. I don't think you want to experiment with what information you want to get out. Obviously, the information is climate change. Yeah.
Thank you. No, there's one thing that I always tell my, uh, as I said just now, right? I work at Astro AWANI, which is a news channel, right? They are 24-hour news TV channel, and it has online features as well. And one thing that I always tell the team, especially the younger reporters, is that who, who, why do you feel that you come into a news channel and you have to do things exactly how this news channel has been doing all this while? You know, do things that you feel is new and refreshing for you. Don't care about the branding of the news channel. You know, that's what I always tell them. This is just so that they get into the mentality of thinking of new ways to do things, because we are living in an age of the new media, right? Where nothing is fixed and concrete and fixed in stone and set in stone. You know, just because a certain strategy or a certain method has worked very well for BuzzFeed, for example, doesn't mean it's going to work for you or for me, for us, because it's still being defined. It's still being defined. So these reporters who come to Awani, they do a news report. They will always have a voiceover that explains the news, and then cut to a soundbite, somebody giving some facts, and then back to his voiceover, and then the reporter stands there. Oh yeah, so this is what happened. I am Zan Azlee for Astro AWANI in Kuala Lumpur. You know, they feel that they have to continue to always do that because that is what has been done all this while, and apparently that is the successful way to do things. But I say, hey, who told you that it's wrong? Who told you that this is the fixed way to do it? You could do so many other things. Like for example, I told them, watch the Casey Neistat video blog. Can't you do something like that for our TV news, our 7:45 news? Seriously, you know, I tell them that. Why not? Wouldn't that appeal to a broader audience, maybe a different kind of audience now? You know, and you expand on who you want to reach, you know, and they were like, oh, cannot lah, you know, just Astro AWANI, you know, cannot. So you know what I did? I went out, I did something like that for the news, and he came on. Highest rating, bro. My segment, but it's just it's just to tell them. It's not, no, please don't clap, no, a bit more. But no, but it's don't get so bogged down by proven strategies, proven methods. You know, sometimes throw away the studies that have been done, throw away the I don't know lah. This goes against everything that we talk about lah. You know, but who's to say? You know, isn't it?
So no, I think it's supposed to be that you have to know the principles and like the basics before you choose to throw it out the window lah. That's usually the advice, not that you come in like I'm just gonna do whatever I want. It's you gotta know like these basic principles and like have your own case studies like just now I was saying BuzzFeed or like the difference between Radio Lab and stuff you should know. Like you have your own case studies and you try to recognize like what people are doing, why they choose to do it, and then like say it's something you kind of want to do and just do it. Yeah. Mhm. Mm. Yeah, but yeah, yeah, but knowing it would be at least have to be able to know like how's that like why something like if you're particular about this having to succeed, you have to know like be able to sit back and judge what went wrong or why it didn't happen. It's very easy to just go out and do whatever you want, but like if you want to talk about like successfully getting it out and like scrutinizing like what worked and what didn't work. Uh, yeah, you still have to do that. At least like it's better to have done something than not have done it at all lah. Yeah, look back. Yeah, like today we learn a bit more about this headline. So it's like these kind of takeaways lah. It's like something to be able to sit back and scrutinize what can be fixed moving forward.
Yeah, that differentiates between having a strategy and not having a strategy. You know, being structured and not being structured. Yeah. But also, you know, sometimes when you first start out, you want to find a model that is already out there, and then you want to follow that model. I remember when I wanted to make documentary films, right? And I really didn't know how, right? So I just went out and copied people. So there was this one famous documentary filmmaker in Malaysia called Amir Muhammad. I don't know if you know him. I used to see his films, like, oh, so nice, huh? Then I started making films without realizing that my films were exactly like his. And then I have public screenings, and then after the public screenings, people will come to me, hey, Amir, hey, sorry, Zan. You know what I mean? They said, oh, you're trying to be Amir, Amir's younger brother, Amir's younger brother, you know? But it was fine because I didn't have any other reference. Huh? So I just followed that, you know? But from there, you start developing your own style, you know, and you start watching other films, you start experimenting with newer things, and start breaking whatever rules you learn in the first place, you know, and then you start developing your own style.
Mindfulness is very important. Anyway, like just to recap lah, the things that I feel like have been like the because I don't want it to sound like we've been speaking for 2 hours and then like you guys have no takeaway from this, but like the 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 I'm trying well the important points that I hope you guys walk away with is that always know like the purpose of what you are talking about and recognize the level of the conversation that you guys are speaking to, which is recognizing the gap, recognizing the necessity for the knowledge lah, and how you want to speak to them. Production is cheap. You probably already have all the things that you need to produce content. You guys already have a website up and going, uh, um, and also the technique of being consistent. Make sure that like it's not difficult to even though if your content is like a week apart or like 2 weeks apart, there's always ways to be consistently pushing out content. Branding, making sure you have like a solid overall voice, and identity of what you're doing, and yeah, and be authentic. I think especially in this current landscape of media, it's always very important to be authentic. You don't know something. If you don't know something, say you don't know something. You're doing something to earn money, say you're doing it to earn money, and people will appreciate the honesty. Yeah, because it's very personal already now. Yeah, man. Somebody just look up on Facebook, hey, bugger this guy. Con man lah. Yeah. So like for me, I think those are the important takeaways. Like because if it comes to technical things, those are things that are very easy to look up. This is just to push to the right direction of how you guys can move forward to sharing media, because we're all about experimenting media stuff. Okay.
Do it halfway and then.
Okay. How do you guys pass this survey around? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What is the importance of this survey? Yeah. And how do you choose to angle it? How do you choose to let people know that this is important?
I think the
No, because because the point I'm trying to make is that the point I'm trying to make is that like we said just now, like getting all these headlines out,
they feel the relevance.
they feel relevance, like attacking this issue at a micro level of like um, how are you actually affected by this? Because the conversation is really not from just this is my observation. Maybe this survey will prove otherwise. That the conversation is not how can we do it? How can we affect climate? How can we change the climate change?
Lighter, I tell you.
No, yeah. So the conversation is not at that level yet. So the conversation is still, hey, this thing is affecting you. Please, you have to be aware of this. Be concerned about this. So like the idea is that you guys need to get the national opinion on climate change. You have to put it out in that way and be authentic. Be authentic in your requests for their participation. Tell them it's very important because you will be going for this. This research is for this, which is very important to get a proper gauge on Malaysians and their concern for the climate change. If you don't care, if you don't take the survey, then obviously don't care. That kind of an angle of get to know your concern. Do you care?
Well, what you can do about it now? The survey is already out. It's already being distributed online. All that. So you need another 170, 270. Now, I don't know if this is hindsight or anything, but what you could do is taking the points from Aizyl, saying that you want to make it relevant to them, make it feel important for them. You could, and this is also branding and identity, construct different content that is related to this survey. You don't write about the survey, but you write about the issues that the survey will be addressing. Things that have different articles, different videos, and all that. And you start posting these articles and videos out, and people will start looking. Oh, it's about climate change. Wow, informational articles, stories about issues, not necessarily talking about your survey. But then these stories, when you start releasing them, people will start seeing all these stories. They have these stories somehow lead to the survey. Okay, click to this survey, click to this survey. You know what I mean? Then they will feel the importance of actually answering this survey. Talk about why you are doing this survey and what role this survey is going to play, lah. You know, but build content all around it. It's content marketing, right? You build content all around it, spread out the content so that people will start believing in these issues, understanding the issues. Then you hit them with the survey, isn't it? Yeah.
It's kind of
It's a campaign, lah.
what this what it reminds me of is like petrol stations when they want to do contests, they will hand out these flyers. Okay, I mean like technically what they want is your information, right? Technically what they want is your information, but like they make it really nice with like, oh, you get a trip for two to some kind of lucky draw, or like oh, a year's supply of petrol. But on the survey, it already has like the information that you there's a form for you to fill. Okay, I'm not saying like ask give people prizes lah, but it's made simple because the information you need are already in the brochure. So like how it's relevant to this, I guess, would be like you were saying, like providing content that will make people know that this thing is important. So like, hey, climate change this is the thing, and then like Zan said, ask them to take the survey after that. It's very much like a oh, Adrian. Yes. Yeah. Technical things. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Say for audio stuff, right? Yeah, never mind. We can touch on it again. Like say like free things, right? Okay. Does everybody have a smartphone? It's technically not free, but you already if you have something, if it's already on you, technically you don't count that as capital expenditure already lah. But okay, say if you already have a smartphone, just use that to record your audio. Like that is literally all you have to do. And you can there's audio recording editing software on your phone, I think.
it's an iPhone, you get iMovie. You can record. You edit.
You can,
You got GarageBand.
yeah.
You know.
No, never mind. Actually, it's your iPhone. You can use your voice memo.
But you can edit.
Just edit, like shorten it and stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am very sure that all these Android phones are way more capable than they're much more access to like free apps to edit things. So if it comes to podcast, it's as simple as that. This is my phone. And like I said just now, like for the vlog that I'm doing, I just shoot with my phone, and it looks pretty decent lah. It shoots but maybe like you might read up a bit about like keeping your camera still. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They've actually like what I bought for myself was like I already have a tripod, but I want to put my phone on the tripod. What I got was a you know the selfie sticks. Okay, the selfie sticks. It's just a clamp for your phone. But then it's screws at the bottom that can attach to any regular tripod. So that's what I do. Like clip my phone to the selfie clamp, put it on my tripod, and put it there and shoot it myself. Editing videos. If you have an Apple product, a Mac, it's very easy. You have iMovie built in. I have no idea what Windows has installed nowadays.
Windows Movie Maker.
But oh yeah, is it okay? Uh, then that. There's a lot of free alternatives. Like even if you want to edit your audio on the computer with the free software, Audacity. Audacity is it's a free thing that you can just use to AUDACITY. Apparently, I write for a living lah. But yeah, it's really that simple. Yeah. Yeah. Brother, I tell you, my I use like the native mic for the iPhone, and like it sounds fine. I one of my friends is an audio engineer. He saw the video. I was like, wow, you can hear the audio. Like he was in a coffee shop. I was listening. Wow, you hear the audio so clear. What you used to record? Then I was like, my phone, man. Huh, you dub? Ah, no. It's like as I'm speaking my thing. It's like,
But there,
wow,
there,
so impressed.
there are tips that you can do to capture proper audio. Try your best to go to a quiet place. No, try your best. You want to interview somebody with your phone, for example. I tell my reporters, right, because if we have this team of iPhone reporters. You can just cup it like that. It captures it so well already. Have your subject stand in a corner, rather than background, somewhere. So yeah, there are tricks and tips that you can do.
So
Yeah.
this and don't cover completely. No, so yeah, this because like you can just use your phone for everything. It should it's very important to recognize the opportunities everywhere. Because there are countless times when we use a press conference clip where like people, like reporters have this thing where they jolok the politician after the press conference to ask for more. And they're like, YB, what's this? Huh? Um, do not recognize the opportunity to be able to record that on the spot and be able to use that later on. Just shoot everything that you feel is important. Record everything. Everything is usable.
With that being said, you can buy an adapter so you can fix the mic. It's quite cheap, like $23. Yeah. See, even cheaper. Yeah, I have one. Bought it some time ago.
And still we don't use it. Because it's easy.
Because you use what is easy, and
Yeah.
this is easy, man. No, I shot TV shows, TV documentaries with like my iPhone. So shouldn't be an issue. Half an hour documentary on my iPhone. And it was iPhone 4, no, not the new one. Yeah. Bad. Yeah, but it was one of the episodes I shot was a half an hour episode of the opening up of Myanmar. So I went to Myanmar. I was denied a journalist visa to go in. So I went in as a tourist. I couldn't bring big equipment because I was denied a visa as a journalist. So I just brought my iPhone 4 and I recorded everything on it. So number one, content has to be appealing so that people will overlook the technical, you know, uh, shortcomings. Then you also sell it as that. We went into Myanmar with just his iPhone. You know, yeah. So it depends on how you sell it, lah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe you sold the based on that concept. You went to Myanmar with our iPhone, so the quality is quite bad for the next half an hour.
Yeah, but it worked, lah. Then you Google Zan Azlee's name, on man. Yeah,
Do you guys have any other questions? Like any practical questions that you guys are facing right now, or things that you might face in the future that you guys.
But let me tell you one thing, lah. The new iPhones, new Android phones, the cameras, just as good as any HD camera. It is HD. You know?
Do you know? Okay, never mind. Since we're talking about like media production and stuff like that, do you know the iPhone? Oh, yeah, I told you already. The iPhone 6 has an app that you can buy. I think it's like 20 ringgit like that. That allows you to shoot in 4K resolution. It's crazy, man. Real, no, for real, no, because it's 8 megapixel camera sensor, right? What it does is it utilizes the entire 8 megapixel yeah, of the sensor for you to allow you to shoot in 4K, and then it allows you to like.
Yeah, I know. They go to any TV station in Malaysia now, they can take 4K also.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, it's easy.
It's easy. You can do anything. I used to be one of those people always trying to get the latest. I used to carry around this huge video camera to shoot my documentaries and all that, right? And it got so troublesome, you know. So now I try to find the easiest way to shoot. A camera that suits what I want, you know. So I've stopped buying the most expensive, the most highly spec technical camera and things like that, and I just get the one that's suited just for me. You know, so now I go around carrying this cheap DSLR camera with one fixed lens and a microphone, and I use that for everything: to record audio, to take photographs, to take video, everything on just that one small camera. That's it. I really, really hope that one day smartphones can have really higher capacity batteries, so that then I just carry my headphone. You know, it's because the most accessible, lah. You know. Yeah.
Oh wait, that's Periscope, right? Periscope.
Oh,
Yeah,
you have a Periscope. That's so cool, eh?
So
You can broadcast live straight away.
Yeah, so you can consider that. I've never tried it.
How important are like new media like Periscope, like Snapchat? You know, how do you think it's a strategy to sort of want these platforms to grab the youth, the millennial, or even the Gen Z audience? Before you know, in terms of social media, we're talking about social media. How important are these new and upcoming apps?
I think at the end of the day, it's all supplementing to the core message that you want to have. I mean, like, okay, because like for me, I'm thinking more editorial kind of work, right? All these things, this extra stuff, is just to supplement the lead to lead them to your core content. But like Periscope, I'm not too familiar with Periscope, but say like YouTube has become like a medium of its own where like it could be the core content itself. But I don't see that happening for Snapchat, but it's a good way to engage. Yeah.
Like Periscope, Snapchat. I think it is the core. Your content is there.
Yeah.
It's there. You know.
Yeah, there's no such thing as too
There's
simple.
no-
There's no such thing as too simple. There's something you have to learn. There's something you have to take away from this. There's no such thing as
Yeah,
too
there's no
simple.
such thing as too simple. But actually, it is important if you want to engage that crowd. You know, who are using Snapchat, who are using Periscope. You know? Yeah. Yep.
To get someone to read a 500-word article versus
Yeah.
Um,
You just need to know how to adapt the content for those mediums. You know, yeah, it's very important to know how to, like we mentioned just now, how you want to word something for Facebook as opposed to Twitter. You know, so Snapchat, Periscope, you just find the right way to do it for that medium.
no, because like Snapchat say like how many seconds is it? You have an option to up to 10. Okay. It could be spread very fast. We just break it down to like the most simple speed, and that could still be like passing on information. Like say like that mid physics thing. That's best. So like another 10 seconds that we create. Like I don't know. There was this viral video last time going around about this teacher using a simple method of explaining how gravity actually works, or no, not how gravity works. How the sun the things occupying space affect the gravity of other things, and why things orbit around other things, like planets orbit around the sun. It's because they're falling into the space that it's taking up. So the video is very simple. It's like some guy took like a big trampoline, punya metal frame, and then like he put like really elastic sheet around the entire thing, and then like he just put a big ball in the center, and then he threw a small ball, uh, which represented another planet falling into that hole, and then he just like starts circling around the thing. Talking about it, I spent like so long trying to explain what it is, but with that video, it could easily like in 10 seconds like flip, whoop, 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 gravity, orbit, done. Explain everything really. So it's just crafting to according to the medium. Cool. Nothing is too simple. Uh, no, we like to talk about ourselves more. Sorry. Yeah.
Question.
Um, okay, for me, myself, some long term thing that I've been working towards, but not necessarily have started proper operations for, is that like I said that I one thing I feel missing in Malaysian journalism is the Malaysian news, mainstream news is the context of things. And I always feel like proper research is so readily available that it's so easy just to do it. That I felt like something like cheese sauce. No, it's not that I want to do a cheese sauce type thing, but like in the same spirit that people deserve to be educated on these things, on why these things are important, and why, yeah, so have to spread more critical thinking instead of just being bombarded with rhetoric and uh, pointless quotes by people who don't really matter, or people who don't really know anything about the thing. And also, I'm working on this video blog thing, a weekly video blog that is talking about knockoff toys, where there's explosions and cheap effects to reflect the cheap nature of these toys. It's called Aizyl's Knockoff Toy Reviews. If you want to check it out, first episode was out last week. Next week is another episode. So those are the stuff that I'm working on personally.
I'm interested in multimedia, like telling a story in so many different platforms. So I've done a book plus a documentary. I've done a comic book plus a documentary. So now I'm hoping to do like of videos that will be also in the form, no, and also in a book form, and a full-length film form as well, for all the same topic, and hopefully it will complement each other. I don't know how I'm going to do it though.
How about you go back, you watch the live stream of this
And get inspired. Yeah, then I'll get inspired and then I know how to do it.
Yes, all right. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
All right, with that, we thank you, the Azlee brothers. Give them a round of applause. All right, thank you. That's us from the MYD training series. Wow, this is the what symbol is this? But yeah, we will have a series of MYD training series on the website. If you find this interesting, do find out us more about on our website www.powershiftmalaysia.org.my. Signing off. Bye bye.